Welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm dear darling, as you see what's going on our lovely island of Fawnhallow today. We'll be relaxing as per usual. I've got to say, this Genshin Impact update, it's genuinely the craziest thing. So basically, new banner came out today, the Knish Raiden banner, I suppose. Which was cool because, you know, I was talking about it before, I was debating, I was like, do I want Knish? And then like I played the story quest and I thought how it was genuinely hilarious, and I was like, okay, I'm pulling Knish for how, and also because his playstyle honestly looks really fun, and confirmed it is incredibly fun. But anyway, good evening everyone. Right now in Fawnhallow, it's 11:39 p.m. on Tuesday, September 17th, 2024. So I had guarantee, which basically in Genshin there's basically a coin flip whether you actually get your the rare character you want or another random rare character. So the coin flip I had was guaranteed basically, and I did the first pull, and it like lit up golden spark, golden meteor falling from the sky, and I was like, oh okay, there's Knish super quickly. And then it was like, oh okay, well I got him in like less than 10 pulls. Right then, well, I mean, this banner also has a character called cherished on it, who has not been like rerun for ages and is actually pretty decent. She opens up some new like team archetypes, and I was like, I do at least want like maybe a couple copies of her if we can swing it. So I did another pull, and lo and behold, literally the next pull, lights up gold meteors falling from the sky once again. It's another Knish, and I'm just like, what? Okay, so it's like another like 10ish or 14 pulls, I can't remember, and I got another Knish, and I was like, what on earth? So I'm just like, well, at this point, you know, if I end up getting C2 Knish, that's not a bad thing because his C2 is like pretty good. So I'm just like, all right, let's do like almost a soft pity, I think, trying to get chevreuses. But I've done this quite a few times, trying to get 4 stars. Constellations, I'll go like almost up to soft pity and then like not cross the boundary, because the chance of you actually getting a 5-star in that range is 0.5% or something per roll, 0.6% per roll, and losing 0.6% in a row is, I don't know, what's the chance of that? That's not how you do percentages. It's pretty high, about 70% that you do. So that's actually a bit lower than I thought it was, to be honest. I thought, honestly, on my top of my head, it would be like 85% or something. So I was like, okay, I'll pull up to like 50 or like 60 or something, and then 60 first pull, the gold meteor falls from the sky again, and I'm like, okay, like it would be kind of cool if I won, but really, like, I'm okay with losing this 50-50 because I want to pull for Shilonen still next match. It's another Knish. I now have C2 Knish. It took about 80 pulls, which is about on a regular Genshin Impact pulling session, that would be what it takes for you to get to the 50-50 mark. So in the time it would usually take me to get to the 50-50 mark, I've pulled him 3 times. And I was like, okay, you know what, I guess I'm a Knish now. I don't have his weapon though. I don't really plan to, but I might put his weapon on a rerun, or if it's with a banner where I might want it. But, you know, for now I'm just like, I got my sights on Shilonen, I want a weapon, and then I got to start thinking for like future characters as well, like Movika and Chaska. Like, I'm not like going to be too bummed if I don't get them, but I would like to get them. I also think we're out of Scotland holiday conversations. Yeah, like the only thing we had left is going back home, and that was it. So yeah, it was just unbelievably lucky, I suppose, is what I'd say. But I mean, there were some other things that, of course, I do want to talk about, which were like more for my birthday, to be honest. But I just had to start with that Genshin thing because it was just ridiculous. Like I was on the train. Oh, you know what's actually a really cool thing I have started, which I guess I'll talk about today, rather than other things. I was on the train, just like, you know, I was like, oh, Genshin, the banner switch is at 6 p.m, which is, I swear normally it's at like 1 p.m. or like 12 a.m. For us, like at lunchtime, but this time is at like dinner time. So I was just on the train doing my pulls, and I did a first pull, and I was like, wow, this is super lucky. I did a second pull with another like 5-star, and then I got him again, and I was like, this is insane. So I've used all my fragile resin, building him and chevreuses up. So now the only thing I need to do is artifact farming and talent book farming for Shilonen for when she comes out. I won't have any fragile resin for her boss materials, but whatever. That'll be fine. I'm just in awe at basically how ridiculously lucky I was, and I'm just like, I don't even know what to do with his luck. Like, if anything, I would prefer C2 Shalona, but I'm not going to complain about having C2 Kniech. He's actually more fun than I expected. Which is weird to say, I guess, because he's got like a little mini game inherent to his damage. But anyway, the thing I was going to talk about, which is a really small thing, is because I had the time to actually go to a bookstore today to pick up. As I said before, I was going to be like, what's the first book I'm going to read to get myself back into reading? And it's going to be Flowers of Algernon, which is a book I wanted to read actually when I was younger because I heard good things about it. And then I saw people's reviews about it, and recently some people were like, oh, it's like my favorite book, and I was like, I know kind of like vaguely what it's about, but not all that in depth. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna make that like the way you had to set yourself targets is you had to give yourself actionable targets. Like, if you want to get back into reading, you know, I could just be like, oh, my goal is to get back into reading, but that's vague. It's like undirectional. It's not very actionable. It's like hard to quantify when you're succeeding at that. Like, I'm reading again, I guess, is the only quantifiable metric. But that's why I was just like, okay, I need to pick a book, I need to go find that book, and it will be the first one I choose to read. And Flowers of Algernon. I walked into a Waterstones, and it was a surprisingly big Waterstones, might I say, as well. I looked around and was like, whoa, this is like actually quite a decently sized one, and I haven't been to a bookstore for ages. Like, the last bookstore I think I went to was a Waterstones way back in university time or something. And I was just looking around, just being like, okay, I'm also like, I don't know how I'm going to find this book, because it's not going to be like a new release, so we're not going to be like promoting it on their tables or something. And I was like, oh, they have a book section from A to Z, and I'm just like, well, that's not going to have every book, because I'm looking at it and it's only like 3 bookshelves or something, and I see that they've got like 20 other bookshelves around this Waterstones. So I was just like, okay, I think the genre is sci-fi, right? So I was just like, I go to sci-fi, and I'm like, oh, they don't have it alphabetically sorted. So I'm just like, okay, well, at this point, I'm like, in my head, I'm like, do I go ask an employee, do you have a book, Flowers of Algernon? Because I'm like, it's such a popular book, they've got to have it. Like, it's like a classic book, isn't it? And I looked over and we were busy, and I was like, okay, you know, let's at least try and do some individual problem solving myself. So I went onto the Waterstones website. I went to Waterstones, Flower of Algernon, what does the book cover look like? And I was like, oh, helpful for me, it's a bright yellow. So I just like looked up, and I was like, there's only like 5 yellow book covers, and luckily one of them was Flowers of Algernon, the one right on my bottom shelf. Picked it up, and I was like, okay, and I was like, I guess I'll buy it. So I bought it, and I started reading it on the train back. I haven't read too far. I've only read like 20 pages or so, which is, it's not really divided by chapters, I suppose, but I would say that maybe I'm like, how many pages does this have? I'm gonna guess this has about 300 pages. So about 230. So I'm about 11% of the way through the book, which is nice. You know, I mean, at this rate, I guess I'll read it in 11 days, which is actually a lot faster than I thought, but still. And it's good. It's honestly very gripping to begin with. The only thing I really knew about it was it's about I knew about there's a mouse called Algernon who like becomes really clever or something, and then it's about a guy as well also undergoing the same treatment. But I read the blurb, and it talks about it as well. It seems to be a sort of about like the fleetingness, the temporariness of something, or like the emotions that you go through when you're given something like enlightenment, and then having it slowly being taken away from you, and there's nothing you can do about it. That's a vibe I get, and I'm just like, reading that blurb, I was just like, this book sounds perfect for me. This sounds like it's going to be heart-wrenching, bittersweet, emotional, turbulent journey with, you know, the sci-fi doesn't take a forefront of a book. So I'm like, I'm excited. It was exciting, and even better, I got to use my Nessie bookmark, which I bought. So yeah, so begins my reading journey, and at least this is my plan. Is basically I'm going to pick a book, I'm going to read it, I'm going to finish it, then, you know, when I finish it, I'll go to Waterstones and pick up another book. I'm not sure like what books. I should make like a list of books that I want to read, or like classic books or something. Because that would be a good idea. Definitely I want to read, like, was it 1989? I think it's like a books to read. I have one for like anime to watch, so I guess I should have one for books to read as well. So I'll put Flowers of Algernon here, and I'll tick it off when I'm done. 1989, right? Is that the book? No, hold up, that's a Taylor Swift album. What is it? No, 18... No, it's 1984, that's it. because that's like a classic book. And we're going to make a book or a list of like classic books which I wanted to read when I was younger, but then I never did. Like must read books. The books you've always meant to read. Apparently Waterstone's on here. Handmaid's Tale, that's actually another one I've heard about, which I definitely want to read. I don't want to make the list too long, because I think that would definitely overwhelm me. So I'll make a list of about 5 books, I think. Lord of Flies, I've actually read. 1984, Great Gatsby. Catcher in the Rye is a maybe. Because I think my sister actually really likes that book. But yeah, I mean, I think this will just be a sort of fun way to get back into reading, to be honest. What other these? Fahrenheit 451? Oh, Hitchhiker's Guide, that's a really good one as well. Because I think it's a different vibe to the others. Free Body Problems. Maybe I should do one from each genre here. I've got It, the book. I'm not sure if that's the one I want to read next, though. Graphic novels you always meant to read? The Complete Mouse? I have no idea what this is. Talented Mr. Ripley, I Am Pilgrim. Crime and fiction thrillers. Empire Land. I didn't realise there were so many. Biography books. I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. There are actually a lot of these that I do want to read. But there's actually quite a lot here, so maybe it's not something I need to be in a rush to do, right? I was talking to someone and Watership Down. I didn't realise that was an actual book. I didn't know that as a. These are some beautiful art covers, by the way. I think that's a good list of 5 to start off with. Like I was talking to someone and they had like a poster basically of like the top 100 classic books throughout history or something, and they're basically like slowly going through and reading all of them. She didn't like all of them. Some of them she did like, some of them she was just like, not her sort of style. But maybe I should do something like that. But this one's a bit better because I suppose like I have a vague knowledge of what some of these books cover, and being able to, I think, sort of pick and choose them, I suppose, myself is probably a nice way to do it. So yeah, I don't know, I guess I'm a bit excited to like sort of get back into reading, do something a bit more actionable, and it'll be just something I bring around because I've been finding myself, you know, most of the time on transport I sleep, and if I don't sleep, then what do? Like I maybe go on my phone, but I'm just like, what's the point of going on my phone? I'm just like mindlessly browsing like a cached version of Reddit from when I had data for like a few seconds. I could just bring a book, you know. And it used to be a thing. I used to read books, well, not many books. I used to read some books on my phone. And actually, now I think about it, maybe I should get a physical copy of the animator's like handbook or whatever it's called. I'll put that before Catcher in the Rye because I don't really know what Catcher in the Rye is about. Animators. Was it Survival Guide? Because I have a copy of it on my phone, but like I've never actually finished reading it. Reading on your phone, like my phone's not big enough, I think, for it to be convenient to read on. I guess I don't like reading on such a tiny screen. But yeah, I used to read some books on my phone. Like the major book I was reading was a book called Moonwalking with Einstein, which was a really interesting book about memory palaces. Because like memory palaces was, I think I spoke about this before, something which apparently I like inherently knew how to do when I was younger. But like I didn't know how to like formalize it to actually like properly take advantage of it, except for to sometimes do it. Or it's actually not something inherently I needed to do. I think I read a game show about it where they basically, it was boys versus girls and they had a challenge and then they basically taught that concept, but I didn't fully grasp the concept. I like only grasped the concept of like making a path through a place you know and putting things at each location. So I was like, let's read a book which is like actually delves into the topic, and it was super interesting. I don't know if I ever finished it, to be honest, but yeah, maybe that should be my ultimate goal of reading, you know. I'll read through these books, and when I'm like back in it, I'm just like, let's finish that book, Moonwalking with Einstein. Let's see it through to the end with a physical copy. And I know people just like, oh, you know, I like Kindles and that sort of thing, and it feels so very, not presumptuous, but what's the word, pompous to be like, oh, I like a physical book better than actual. My bookmark fell out, probably because I'm throwing this book around like crazy. It's okay, I remember what page I was on. I will say that it's definitely one design flaw of this Nessie bookmark. It doesn't feel like it's very stable in here, because it's not like a long bit which attaches to it. Like a regular bookmark. So it does feel like it might fall out at any opportunity. But still. Yeah, Flowers at Algernon. I'm excited to get back into some reading. Definitely one of the more actionable hobbies I'm trying to get back into. The other one I'm trying to do is also piano stuff. But I think that one's definitely kind of on my fault, because I basically use my piano as plushie storage and my makeup table. But now I have a new shelf for my makeup, which hopefully should be a lot easier for me to actually put makeup on in a more actionable way. I'm talking so corporately. And then all I need to do is move these plushies somewhere else. And then that should at least free up me to be able to roll on over, start playing a piano at some point. Because I really want to get back into that as well. Too many things I want to do. But yeah, I don't know. And reading is a nice thing as well, because it's something that you can do quite easily, almost anywhere. The only slight downside of reading, I think, on transport is I do get travel sick if I constantly look down. I don't get travel sick if I'm looking like up normally, or if I'm like looking to the side or anything like that, but it's something about looking down like into my lap makes me travel sick. So I had to read like in a really awkward pose where I basically hold the book right in front of my face, which I'm sure looks really strange to everyone. Not that I care that much. Like, I mean, like, if I saw someone reading like that, I'll be like, oh, what book are they reading? And then I'll be like, oh, I don't know that book. And that would be all I think. But it is a bit uncomfortable, I think, because you have to hold your hands up. Like, it's a lot more natural for your like hands to rest on your lap, but to hold your hands up like actively the entire time to read, even like if you're propping them up on your knees, or in my case, like on my backpack, it's not very comfortable for a long period of time. So yeah, I read for like 20 pages, and then like I slept for the other half of the journey. Just make it simple. So I don't know. It's a balance, to be sure. Anyway, Flowers at Algernon. It seems like a cool book. And I'll give you my review of it, I suppose, when I actually finish reading it. So we'll have like double reviews. That's what Animal Crossing is going to be. It's going to be like a catalogue of the video games I've played, the books I've read, the movies I've seen, all throughout time. And it'll be very interesting, I think, to hear my thoughts as they evolve compared to my the life I live. On that note, I'm going to round this episode off here. Can't believe I got C2 Kanish. Crazy. So, if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares, greatly appreciated. Socials, Discord down below. Hope we can see each other again. But for now, it's our farewell. So until next time, bye-bye for now.